Hello and welcome to Sadhana World Foundation. As you know, our mission is to craft young lives. We present stories from lessons in our folk tales and lessons in history for our young children and young adults on moral values. We think that these stories have tremendous amount of knowledge and teachings embedded in them which would help our young adults become stronger and better human beings. Today I have picked up a topic which we encounter almost every day in our life. When we go out of our home, we face traffic on the road. When we go and interact with people, we try to achieve something. There are many obstacles that we face. Pretty much like the traffic on the road, which becomes an obstacle for us to reach our destination in a quick time. There are things that we want in life, we don't get it. As small children, we made demands and our parents did not approve. As children in the school, we made requests to our teachers and teachers did not approve those requests. We face several such instances in our life. If people are working in an office, in a factory, in any workplace, they have targets. They don't know why such targets or why such expectations are put on them. Yet those are the expectations they have to live up to. Families put expectations on the members of their family. Many times these expectations appear unrealistic to the other person, yet those are expectations which need to be fulfilled to the best possible extent. How do we respond to those situations? Many of us resent at it. We become resentful. We think that why am I getting subjected to such unrealistic things in my life? Why me? Is it not very unfair that I am in this situation? Pretty much like we blame the traffic, we blame the government, we blame the unruly other travelers on the road, and many other things. We blame the situation, we blame the season, we blame the climate, we blame the country, we blame the government, we blame our friends, our parents, our luck, and many things in life. How do we survive? So I was reflecting on this. In fact, one of our viewers suggested that we take up a resentment as a negative energy, negative emotion that many of us know that it's not good to resent, but we subconsciously resent. So I was thinking about it. Many characters in the epic Ramayana and Mahabharata, I crossed my mind and I thought that through these characters, we have been told again and again, right from our childhood, that expectations many times won't be fulfilled. Many characters. Let me just give a few examples. Take Sri Krishna in the Mahabharata, in the epic of Mahabharata or the Bhagavata. He was born at a place, he was moved to another place. His childhood was under the supervision of guardians who were not his parents. He faced many situations in his life. Think of his death. He died alone and he was killed by a hunter. Right in front of his eyes, his clan got extinguished. So even the Lord Sri Krishna, who is considered to be so powerful in the epic Mahabharata, has faced numerous such situations which are definitely not the most favorable situations. Think of Draupadi, the queen of the Pandavas, or the wife of the five brothers who were known as Pandavas. Think of her life. Think of Sita in the Ramayana. Think of Lord Ram in Ramayana. Each of these characters have faced tremendous amount of obstacles in their lives, not as a result of their actions. Why was Ram sent to the forest for 14 years for no fault of his? Just because his father had made a promise to one of his wives that her wish will be granted. What could Ram do about it? Is it not like traffic? Is it not like a tough paper that you find in the exam? Is it not an unrealistic target that your boss sets for you? Is it not similar to your parents being more demanding than what you like? Is it not being subjected to requests or demands from your close friends which you particularly don't like, and yet you have to do? Similar situation, isn't it? So what have these characters done? How do you know that you are being resentful? Let me describe one particular story of Ekalavya. I think many of you know about this character Ekalavya from Mahabharata. There is temple of Ekalavya. Ekalavya is a character which is liked by many people in the world. So just think of that character. He was born in a tribal family. His father was a commander of an army of a very powerful king of his time. He was the son of a tribal leader. He had aspirations to become a great archer. He was not born in a poor family. He was born in a fairly well-to-do family. He didn't have any problem to face in his life. He would have just followed the footsteps of his father. But he was ambitious. So anything wrong with that? Definitely not. The best teacher of archery of that time was Guru Dronacharya, who was the teacher of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Once he came to know of Guru Dronacharya, and he saw that Guru Dronacharya was teaching archery to the Kauravas and Pandavas in the jungle. So he, being a tribal boy, cannot become a disciple or a student in Dronacharya's academy, and hence he had to just somehow watch it from hiding. And he learned all the techniques, and he was just observing. Then after Dronacharya left the camp along with his students, he made an idol of Dronacharya. He imagined that Dronacharya, the teacher, was right in front of him, and he did self-study. He made the practice, he kept on practicing, and he became a great archer himself. One day, Guru Dronacharya was visiting the forest along with the disciples, Kauravas and Pandavas. He saw something very interesting. He saw that there is a construct of arrows within which a dog is constricted. The dog cannot bark, yet the dog is not getting hurt. Very interesting kind of a design he came across. He was intrigued that who could create this. So he was looking around, he saw this boy, he called this boy Ekalavya. He said, who you are and where did you learn this technique of creating a construct of arrows? Who's your teacher? He said, Guru Dronacharya, you yourself are my teacher. I was feeling shy to come in front of you and hear at my prayers. Guru Dronacharya was astonished, and he learned later that the Ekalavya had learned the techniques of archery from Guru Dronacharya in hiding. So he could imagine the future, that his disciples would be challenged, particularly Arjuna, who was supposed to be the greatest warrior, greatest archer of that time, would be challenged by Ekalavya, and it will be a trouble. So Guru Dronacharya asked for Guru Dakshina, and Ekalavya had to surrender his thumb because Dronacharya asked for the thumb, and Ekalavya surrendered. In this particular story, so what happened? Ekalavya lost his power of an archer, of being an archer for the rest of his life. What did he do to lose his thumb? He was a great archer. What did he do? Did he resent? He did not resent. The story says the character is described to be proud, to be surrendering, to be cutting off his thumb and surrendering that to Guru Dronacharya as a gift or as a fee towards the teachings that he has taken from Guru Dronacharya. So what we learn from this story? We learn that there are several situations in life that we will be subjected to on which we will have no control. We cannot reason, we cannot find a reason why we are facing this problem. Pretty much like, why do we face traffic on the road? Why do we fall sick? Why do we face unrealistic targets? Why do we face some situations which we don't like? How do we deal with it? I think the story tells us how to deal with it. First of all, we have to assume that there will be situations which will be not in our control. Secondly, we have to think what is there in our control. What can we do? Like Ekalavya, what could he do? He could have not accepted the Guru's demand. He could have denied. But then what would have happened? How would have history remembered Ekalavya? I am sure we are not going to remember Ekalavya the way we are remembering today. So we have to think that what is in our control. It was in his control to become great, a great archer, which he had already proved. We all respect and remember him today as a great archer, as a great victor, also at the same time a great disciple. So he could see that that was under his control to accept the Guru's demand and submit happily to the demand. That was in that situation, that's how he responded, because that was in his control. We have to recognize that we are being resentful. Rather than blaming the traffic, can we listen to some good music? Can we meditate? Can we think of situations where somebody has helped us? Can we express gratitude to that person mentally? Can we feel happy about it? Can we think, if we are getting delayed, what else can be done? So I think it's about being calm, thinking about what best can be done, which is in our control, not really blaming others, not really blaming oneself and feel miserable about it and be stressed about it. So I thought it's a beautiful story. So many people around us become resentful because they don't get what they want. So the solution is to accept that there will be many situations where we will not get what we want, and we should do whatever best is possible within our control. Let us call upon the faculties which are hidden within us, which control our mind in thinking positively and getting rid of this negative energy. Thank you very much for listening to this story. I hope that this was useful for all of us. Wish you the best as we live a better life, better tomorrow, and every day be a great day ahead. Thank you very much.